Guess which of these videos on screen right now generated the most sales? I'm going to give you a second. There's the answer. Surprised? Oh wait, how did that get in there? For years, I've been studying what grows channels, but also what types of content actually makes money. I've been using Revit to track sales from individual videos so I can see what styles and ideas and topics earn the most. I've had hundreds of conversations with creators about what gets their bank balances rocking, and as a result, I've now thrown the old YouTube rulebook out of the window, and I make videos based on this data because it grows your business, not this, which for most encourages them to do the opposite of what will actually bring in sales. And look, it's working for me, and it's working for my clients. So today I'm going to show you the new way for businesses to YouTube if you want to make money by ranking every style of video for income generation. I'm going to give you the pros, the cons, as well as some tricks to make them more impactful on your business, and it's all backed up with proof. Now to start, you need to understand how videos actually make money though, because not that many people think about this in the right way. And it works like this. So have you ever watched a video and thought to yourself, this is great, how do I work with that person? If you want to make a video that sells a product or service, that reaction is literally all you need to create. But how do you do that? So what I discovered tracking sales from individual videos was if your topic was, say, about helping people move to Dubai, and your product also helps them do exactly that, then you will make more money from that video than others because the problem it solves and your product are so in line. So the first thing to tick off from your list is to simply solve a problem with your content, and to turbocharge this, make sure it's in line with the problem your offer solves too. The next thing is critical, and the more of this you build into your videos, the easier your sales are going to become. And to do that, you just show why you're credible and trustworthy. And now the third thing, this is pretty obvious, but if your video doesn't deliver anything new and valuable to your audience, they ain't going to want to buy your stuff. So value is the next key thing to check off. And then this is the big one. This is the secret sauce that combined with the others changes lives fast, and it's simply the art of creating an emotional reaction. This brings home more bacon than Kevin Bacon at a pig farm on a Saturday afternoon. And trust me, Kevin likes his bacon. Otherwise, they'd call him Kevin Chicken. So now you know this critical formula, let's move on to ranking the best and worst videos for making money and how each of them ticks these off. So to do that, we have this ranking system. S is at the top, and that's the best, and E is the worst. So let's start with the first video style. Unfortunately, as I'm about to prove to you though, this type of video is E tier for making money. But let's start with the pros of podcasts, because they do have some. Firstly, with a great guest, a podcast can be easy to make in that you don't really have to do any writing or as much editing, hopefully. Secondly, the guest brings all the value, so you don't have to know much. Thirdly, you can hijack their audience, so if you get a big name on your channel, their face will just pull in more views. But from my experience, do not expect them to share it with their following, because they don't, which is insane, and you'll find out why that's logo in a minute. And the final pro is that if you do video podcasts consistently for the long term and get more and more big names on the show, you could eventually build a huge audience like Joe Rogan, meaning you can just sell any old crap to your viewers, which for legal reasons, I should state, these big podcast channels probably don't do. Got some of Kevin's bacon in my eye. There's no other reason I'd be winking. But what are the cons? Well, look at this. So these podcast style videos are the most viewed on this channel you're watching right now. So why did I stop making them that often if they're the most popular? Well, the sales from them sucked and were almost non-existent. But why? Well, think about our checklist for making money. Let's use this example I did with Luciana. Does this video solve a problem? Well, yeah, it did. Did it have a ton of value? Yep, a crazy amount was delivered. Did it create an emotional reaction? Read the comments. But when viewers respond with hate and extreme love, the answer is yes. And did it raise my credibility? No. Now, think back to what I said earlier in the pros section. Secondly, the guest brings all the value, so you don't have to know much. Luciana brought all the value, all the info, which raised her credibility a lot. So two key parts of this formula went to Luciana, not me. What that meant was, and I know this for a fact, it generated her sales because some of you guys emailed me to say you were now working with her as a result of watching that, and what she told me. You see the issue and why for sales, podcasts like this are just E tier, because when you host, your guest is the one who creates that key, how do I work with this person feeling? But there is a way to make a lot of money from interviews. So let me rank another type of interview, and it's simply getting on other people's podcasts for all of the reasons I've just said. And that's why I put it at S tier. But this isn't about getting on big channels, because if you have an email list or a community wall or social media, you can promote any podcast you go on and give your fans a deep dive experience that ticks off all of these key metrics and took you like no time to make, so it can still make you money even if they don't have a following. And that is why it's insane when people do these podcasts, they don't promote them after, because it's easier money than selling bacon to Kevin. So these are S tier, so long as you have a way to share them. But there is another type of interview that we need to bring in the rankings, which is also S tier, and it works like this. So back in the day, on my old channel Film Booth, I used to offer paid one-to-one calls. Viewers could book in and we would have cam sex. Are you kidding? Apart from that one time. Anyway, I made this type of interview I'm about to show you, and it booked out my calendar for 3 months. So what is it? Well, it's this. I call it a hybrid interview. What I did was interview a guest, asking them how they blew up their channel, but at the same time, I added in tons of my own value. So they did some explaining, and then I went deeper on what they said. I also gave them advice on what they could maybe do better, and the video was a massive hit in the comments as a result. I need to do more of these. So if you do want to start a podcast, you really want to tick off that all-important credibility part by bringing value into the conversation. I really like the way Pat Flynn does this with his audio podcast. Sometimes he has a guest, which, by the way, if anyone knows him, I'm free. But he also does these like one-man shows, which is him talking, giving advice, and I feel like those really do a good job of raising his credibility. Which brings me on to the next video people all want to make, and I go, please don't make this, because they are convinced, oh, my viewers like that, and then this will blow my business. Ella, trust me, it don't work. So answer this. If you're serious about solving your problem, what do? You go on YouTube and watch a video and sit back and then just not action anything that's in it? Or do you pick up a pen and you take notes and you try and action what you've learned? It's the getting people to get a result from your free advice that really blows up your bank account. But this next content style tricks creators into thinking it's powerful because it can be amazing for views, and it's often just people who have rented a Ferrari for an hour in Dubai trying to make it look like they're successful, which has caused this problem. And of course, I'm talking about these vlogs. Alex Hormozi cut them out of his strategy for this exact reason. But why don't they work? Well, let's just run it through the checklist. Do they solve a problem? Often no. Now, some of the good ones, who are maybe storytellers, they will know that a good story solves a problem. But a lot of them just go, I did this today. Do they raise credibility? I mean, yeah, I guess if anyone actually believes your life is that cool. Do they give value? Rarely. Do they pump up the emotion? Big time. And this is what they're all about, really. So we know the cons. There must be some pros there, Ed, because I really want to make a lifestyle vlog still, I hear you cry. Well, there are. Vlogs can build a strong bond with viewers, and I think for creators like Iman Gadzhi, where he'll make a vlog to appeal to a much colder, beginner, casual audience in the hope that he can then funnel them down to his more serious stuff, that's a good strategy. But for the average business owner who's not flying around in a helicopter, this idea of showing your life is a trap. In fact, I actually filmed a week in the life of vlog once because I wanted to try it. It was so boring, I never made it, because after a week, it was just me sat at a desk. Wait, hang on a sec, I've got a scene from it.
Oh no, they cancelled my breakfast. Peeking around here. What have I got in the fridge? Bing tang. I feel like I'm a plant. Oh yeah, I just forgot I didn't actually order my food. One thing about vlogging is it's a tremendous distraction and waste of time.
Well, maybe I should have made a day in the life of a middle-aged course seller. So I'm afraid these are E tier for income. So let's move on to ranking our next video style. And everyone is sleeping on this. From tracking, I could see that just one of them made $35,000 in 7 days. So what is it? Well, it's probably the easiest money maker on YouTube, live streaming. I know. You don't want to go live, or you have a small audience, so there's no point, but just stick with me. It doesn't matter. You can still earn money from these. So let's start with the pros. And to do that, I'm going to break this video down that brought in really strong sales for me. So to start, let's just throw it in our checklist. Did it solve a problem? Well, yeah. I break down viewers' channels and sales systems, and then I just showed them where they needed to fix to make more money and get more views, which is a big problem. Did it raise my credibility? Yeah, because I showed them how to fix the problem. Did it have value? Yeah, tons. Did it create an emotional reaction? Again, the comments often show this, but by simplifying YouTube into a pipe metaphor like I did in that, a child could grasp it, and this worked. And because it was so in line with my program, which is basically just helping people grow YouTube channels and businesses, it was primed to make more sales. But that is not all. The next pros are massive. So look at all of these live streams I've done, hundreds of thousands of views, and that's because YouTube pushes these things as videos after you have finished them if you do a good job, which is kind of why it doesn't really matter if you don't have that much of a following to start. And that brings us on to the mega pro, and this is massive for income generation with live streams. So the reason I roast or react to my viewers' videos or business in live streams isn't just because it's helpful. It's because every time I do it, I post a message to my community wall telling people that they can apply, and to do so, they just need to get on my email list like now, because at 3 p.m. that day, I'll be emailing the form to do so. This explodes email signups, and my email list has grown my business so fast. In fact, recently, it generated $300,000 in a week. Now, I know it doesn't say 300,000, but all the payments are on Stripe, so I've got wired. But what are the cons? Because this sounds amazing, right? Well, firstly, here's the problem with YouTube education like I'm giving. Not 100% of what I say is applicable to every niche. So if you're in a niche that solves a problem that you can fix on a live, then that's great. But otherwise, maybe it's not right for you. You can, of course, do a Q&A, but I've not found them to be as good for sales. However, presentations that show people how to solve a problem step by step are really strong for sales too. The next con is, well, pretty much every time I go live, something goes wrong, mics cut out, batteries die, It's probably just me being an idiot. I feel like I prepare a lot, but there's just always something that makes it way more stressful. Also, if you're not confident on camera, then just don't do them. You have to come across well. I had emails in the past telling me that I was harming my personal brand with my performance of my live streams. What they didn't know was that just before that live, I'd been given some really bad news, which totally threw me. But hey, that's the internet. And that's the next con. When I started out doing live streams, and I didn't have a very big following, and I did this, every week someone would come on and they would troll me in the comments and they'd go, "You're never going to make it." And there was like the only comments that everyone could see it was embarrassing. And it's hard to keep going when you've got that abuse. So for those reasons, although it's amazing for sales, it's highly stressful. I'm going to give it 8 tier. In a minute, I'm going to show you a video style that generated over $100,000 just from one video. But first, let's look at a very on-trend video everyone seems to be making so we can answer, should they really be making them if they want to make money? Why am I going so high? And to do that, I want to know something in the comments. Have you noticed that these like scraggly old school deep dive whiteboard videos are everywhere now? I mean, it makes no sense, right? When you were a kid, you didn't walk into the lesson and get excited when you saw a whiteboard. You got excited when they rolled in the TV. So why are they so popular? Well, there's 2 reasons. The first is weird. Recently, Netflix announced that they want writers to have characters say what they are doing, which usually you would not include in the script because it's not critical to a story. They just show people going to the fridge. But due to the fact so many people have Netflix on in the background and listen whilst doing other things, they want to improve the audio experience. So I believe this is one of the reasons long-ass deep dives and whiteboards have become more popular, because they don't have many visuals that are critical to the information, so people can just digest them in the background. Yes, that's right, people, the future's radio. But it's not just about whiteboard videos. This style of video is a deep dive, a longish video that delves into a specific problem by breaking down lots of steps, and it can be done like this. So let's work out how good they are at making money by putting them on the checklist. First, do they solve a problem? Yes, they often go very deep into how to solve a problem, so this is mega. Do they raise credibility? Well, Google says that people need to consume 7 hours of content now before they become a buyer, so if your deep dive is 90 minutes, that takes up a massive amount of that. So as long as you don't screw it up, it's big for credibility building. But what about value? Yes, they should contain lots of value. And then emotion, this is the side of the deep dive that's often a bit of a letdown, because most people think, oh, this is just about making raw information. But it never is. Watch one of Hormozi's. It's just always packed with stories. Or watch one of Charlie Morgan's. He'll use tons of metaphors to make it more entertaining and simplified. So you will use these things in them to create an emotional reaction. So as you can see, they hit the checklist, which means your bank account goes brrr, as the kids say. I think they say that. At least they might have stopped saying it by now. Here's an amazing example, which is slightly different. This is just a 5-hour video where I threw together tons of my old film booth videos in a compilation and just put little clips in between, and it generated $40,000 in the first 4 days. The way I think about these are they're amazing at conversion, because only serious people will sit and watch longer, more in-depth content, and that means they get a ton of value in one go, and because they're more serious about solving their problem, it also means they're more likely to buy your thing that should also solve it. So you can see why they're getting so popular, right? But what are the cons? Well, imagine if you sat down to watch a 90-minute deep dive and the person on camera had no personality and overcomplicated everything. Yeah, you ain't getting past 30 seconds. And that's why I think long-ass deep dives are probably the worst thing you can do if you're new to YouTube or you lack experience on the topic. People who get results with these do so because they beautifully simplify complex things, and that keeps people watching, and then they go, how do I work with this person? And that's why they miss out on S tier, because they're not obtainable to everyone, I don't think, but they do get an A. Bringing this on to the next video type, and one of them generated me over $100,000. This is crazy, but it was so eye-opening for me, because when I asked, why did this video make so much money, I found a pattern in all of my top earning videos I've been tracking, and they all use the same thing. This, yeah, a glass. So pay attention, you're gonna find out what this means. So this is the type of video I'm talking about. It's called a talking head video. A talking head video is basically just a video like you're watching right now. Most YouTube videos are this. They have a presenter, it's often scripted and it's edited. So why did this one go past the 6-figure mark for sales? Well, I wanted to know. So I got all of the videos data I'd been tracking and noticed that the ones that had the highest views to sales all did exactly the same thing in all of them. I described how to solve a problem by comparing it to an empty glass. So in this example, I used jelly beans in a glass to explain how you're better off with less viewers, but the right viewers if you want to make money. This one, I used a glass and water to explain that you need to build up trust. This one, I used Guinness and a glass. But why does that work to make you money? Well, let's use the checklist. Does this solve a problem? Yes. Does it raise credibility? Well, yes. When you simplify something complex down to a glass level that anyone can understand, it does that. Did it have value? Yeah. Did it create an emotional reaction? And this is where the simplified explanation using a glass, really pays off. The comments and the emails about these videos show their love for the metaphor more than anything else. It's always the flattest part of the retention too, because it gives people a light bulb moment. And for years, I've been telling people to do this, and this is why, because it creates the how do I work with that person feeling for a lot of people. Some people hate it, but you know what? This video in particular also performed really well, so it was just a double whammy of views and sales combined, and it went past the 6-figure mark. And when something works, you just repeat it, right? You think I'm drinking that Guinness for fun? No, I push my body to the limits for you guys. Next praise of these is just the length. There's a lot of people left on YouTube who don't want to watch long-ass videos. This video I'm making right now, for me, is too long. I'm trying to make it a bit longer to see what happens. So this type of shorter talking head still caters to the billions of people who like bite-sized, refined content that you can learn a hell of a lot in 10 minutes. Really, the goal of these videos in terms of sales is to build a binge trap though, where you give your viewers just enough info each time so they want to watch another one. And then you get your 7 hours of content in required to make a sale that way, from one video to the next to the next. The cons? Well, I don't actually really think there are that many. Other than you have to get good at presenting and writing and scripting and all that stuff. But they pretty much work for every kind of channel, so I'm going to give these S tier. Okay, that brings us on to the ultimate video. This has maybe millions. I wasn't tracking all of these sales at the time, but I just know from my clients telling me why they signed up to stuff, and it was often these videos. These are videos that got them over the line. They built trust, emotion, credibility, value, and they solve problems on an insane level. I just cannot express how, if you get this right, it will change your life. They can go viral. This one recently made my client Dan $100,000 in 30 days. But they are hard to make, that's the con, and they require you to do something remarkable your viewers might not have seen before for the very best result. So let's rank them. They're not A tier, they're not even S tier. They are God tier for sales, and all you do is you document yourself trying to achieve the thing your viewers want, or take a client and change their life in some way, shape, or form and report back on how you did it. They're challenge videos, or you could give them a more boring name, case studies. When I figured out how powerful these were, I just went on a mission to make as many as I could. I made a video documenting how I blew up a channel as fast as I could. I made one about how I blew up a channel just swapping thumbnails around. I made one about how I blew up a video as fast as I could. I made one about how I took 14 YouTubers and made them hundreds of thousands of dollars in 30 days. Now, luckily for you, I built a system to make them, and you can learn them for free right here. I've put it in a playlist with examples of these videos and more information on how to tell amazing stories. The thing is, which one of these styles do you pick? You kind of need to try them all and then track the sales and conversions from them, and then double down on the results that work best for you. You also need to keep in mind that sometimes you want views over sales, so going from one video designed to break out to new viewers to one that's about conversion isn't a bad idea.